To Jersey Central with Bert Barron on the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC. Call Jersey Central at 732-545-9282. Toll free at 888-545-9282. Watch Jersey Central live online at WCTCAM.com or listen on your smartphone with the iHeartRadio or TuneIn apps. Connect with WCTC on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube by searching 1450 WCTC. And now, back to Jersey's Morning Show, Jersey Central with Bert Barron.
8:37, back on Jersey Central on the new Talk Radio WCTC, the voice of Central Jersey. Our Need to Know Things coming up a little bit later on in this half hour, including some tips that could make your experience at Disneyland or Disney World a little more pleasurable. No, it doesn't mean get a fake wheelchair and put somebody in it and go to the front of the line. No, not like that at all. Legitimate ways. We'll talk about that coming up. Let's get to the Raritan Bay Medical Center Jersey Newsmaker Hotline. Special guest who is a small business owner and a lifelong resident and very proud to call Metuchen, New Jersey, her home. But she's got a problem about something that's happening there. So let's welcome in Nancy Jessen, who is with us here this morning on WCTC. Nancy, good morning. It is Bert Barron. How are you today?
I'm fine. It's a pleasure to be here.
And let me thank you so much for reaching out to me and bringing this whole thing with these signs to my attention. You know, I was in Metuchen the other day. My auto mechanic is there. I'm telling you, you can't go 5 feet without seeing one of these, I heart Brainy Burrow signs all over Metuchen. And you as a business owner, you kind of have a problem with these signs, right? You want to talk about your issue with the signs?
No, I don't have a problem with the signs. I'm the person that put the signs out there. The reason for the signs is my family owns a small business in Metuchen, and back in December we found out they were looking to put in a special improvement district, which is basically adding a tax to small business owners. And I wasn't in favor of that, so I called an attorney and I said, how do you stop a special improvement district? And they said, well, the only way you can is through public opinion. You have to get enough people to talk to the borough council and try to change their mind that it's not a good idea. So I came up with the I Love Brainy Borough sign idea because Metuchen's had the nickname the Brainy Borough for over 100 years.
That's right.
So I used that as a branding, and I basically made up signs and T-shirts and mugs and pens, and I just spent months basically walking around downtown, talking to the business owners, and trying to get people to speak up and go to the public hearing. It turns out special improvement districts are very easy to put in New Jersey. The legislation was written in 1984, and all the town has to do is put a group together, a stakeholder group, to study it, draft an ordinance, hold a public hearing, and vote. And the next thing you know, as a small business owner, your taxes are going up 5% in Metuchen's case, to create a $275,000 a year bureaucracy with an executive director and an assistant and an office. And their mission is to market downtown Metuchen. And it sounds great on paper, but when you think about it today, downtown isn't like it used to be 30 years ago. 30 years ago, you could pretty much do all your shopping downtown. And today, with the internet, it's totally changed. It's mostly restaurants and nail salons and hair salons, and the few retail that are left are specialty stores. And they can do their marketing through the internet, through target marketing.
Right.
They can use Groupon. They can use social media. They can go Grubhub. There's all kinds of ways for them to target market their customers. So to me, it doesn't make sense to have a new bureaucracy that's going to do group advertising for downtown Metuchen. So I basically tried to stop it. And you saw the signs. I was successful in getting a lot of people to go to the public hearing. It was on May 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
But I also enlivened the people that were in favor of it also. So it became quite a contentious thing. And at the public hearing, there was standing room. It lasted for over 3 hours of people standing up, and some were in favor of it and some were against it. And basically, the borough council approved it. So I was a little naive, I think, in the beginning. I sort of really thought if I went around with those signs and talked to people and kind of made a good argument that it doesn't make sense to put in a new bureaucracies in today's environment, that I could make an impact. But it
Right.
just turned out that it was, I kind of realized towards the end it was kind of a done deal, that the borough council really thought it was a good idea, and they approved it.
Yeah, it's like it sounds like you try to get the word out there, kind of grassroots, and just talk to people one at a time, and try to get them to see exactly what's going on here. As a small business owner, Nancy, is there any pushback at all that you have, maybe with fellow business owners who not real pleased with this bureaucracy that's happening there? What's your course of action now?
Well, you have to work with it. It's a done deal. Um, it's going to happen, so you just have to try to work with it. But we know Metuchen. The thing, one of the things that didn't make sense to me was Metuchen already had a chamber of commerce,
Right.
and it was a very, very good chamber of commerce, and it has a part-time executive director. And if you're familiar with Metuchen, it has a country fair, it has a June bug, it has a cruise nights. It does the things that they say you should do to revitalize your downtown.
That's true.
Metuchen has a huge group of volunteers that do all kinds of things. So, in my mind, all the pieces of the puzzle that were needed to have a successful downtown were there. It just it needed some tweaking. It needed sometimes Borough Hall isn't the most friendly place it could be to small business owners.
Mm-hmm.
I think the environment in downtown Metuchen needed to change to make it welcoming to small businesses. Um, and I just think we needed to just kind of tweak things and kind of realize things are changing. Also, if you drove downtown, you saw there's two huge new developments going on.
I did notice those last week. Yeah.
Yeah, one is Renaissance Properties, which is it's going to be a strip mall, but it's going to have a Whole Foods in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is Woodmont Properties, and you saw the big parking deck that they've constructed for the commuters and for their buildings with stores on the first floor and apartments on the second floor. So Metuchen's already being revitalized, which was another reason I said, why are we doing this? We have all this new inflow of capital, and two major Central New Jersey real estate companies who have their own marketing branches, which will be marketing their properties to fill up their stores. Why do we need another bureaucracy to try to do the same thing?
Yeah.
The
Sounds
other
to me
thing is,
like you don't need it. Sure.
yeah, and the other thing is, there are some things that can be done. The traditional Main Street in Metuchen does look a little dated. The parking authority has money from the sale of the parking lot to Woodmont Properties, and they do need to put new parking meters in. So, because Metuchen's going to be larger, so if you wandered around and you only put a quarter in the meter and you want to stay longer, you can pay from your phone. They could use new sidewalks and things like that and update the streetscape. And my philosophy is if you update the streetscape, you make the environment inviting for small business will come and they will hopefully prosper. But it's really up to the individual business owners. I don't really think an executive director is really the person that's going to change what goes on Main Street. I think it's up to the business owners in conjunction with the town creating an environment that is business friendly.
Yep, I agree. I really admire you for taking up this cause here, Nancy, and hopefully you can make a difference there in Metuchen. What is your business, by the way? You want to give a mention of what you do in
Well,
town?
my family owns Victorian Office Rentals, which
Okay,
is across the street from the post office on Main Street. It's a
sure.
Victorian homes that were converted into offices.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also own a small business up on Greenwood Lake,
Okay.
South Shore Marina.
Okay.
It's a marina up on Greenwood Lake. And I also actually worked for Johnson & Johnson for 18 years when I
Mm.
got right out of college. So I've worked for big companies. I own a small business and have over 40 years of business experience.
Good for you. And if anybody knows what it takes to make a small business successful, it's the people like you that do it day in and day out, not somebody that sits in some boardroom or is part of some conference or something. It's business owners themselves that know what's best for themselves.
Exactly. And it's very hard in today's environment to run a small business.
Yeah.
It's long hours. Government is always throwing new things at you. Fill out this form. Follow this new rule. They change the rules on you and don't tell you. It's really, really hard to be a small business owner. And the last thing you need is somebody raising your taxes. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, the economy is not that great. People are struggling. When I walked around Main Street and talked to those business owners, I got an education. And it is really, really hard. And the internet is totally changing everything.
Yeah. That.
And the government needs to get out of people's way and let them come up with what they need to do to adapt.
Yeah,
And they're the ones who know that the best.
true. The internet and the smartphone were really game changers, Nancy, when it came to
Exactly.
business and everything. Well, thank you for your time this morning. I admire your courage and for taking up this fight here, and don't give up, and please keep
Okay.
fighting for small business owners everywhere. And I do see the signs all over the place there. So.
Yeah, the
Um,
signs are let's use our brains. Let's think about this. Does
and I
this
saw a
make sense?
magnet too. There was a circle magnet on the back of a car I saw the other day too. So you made
That's
those
right.
as well, right?
I tried to get the word
There
out.
you go. Well, Nancy Jessen, thank you for your time. Good to hear you on WCTC, and thanks for reaching out with this. And it was a pleasure to speak with you this morning. All right.
Great. My pleasure also.
All right.
Thanks again.
Take care. Thank you. All right, Nancy Jessen, my guest here on